Peace, peace, peace. Peace to all. Yes, it has been quite some time since I created a YouTube video. But hey, I woke up from the dream world and it was like, yo, I had to make this video, okay? So, this video is an important message for who we call the flame bearers, those who bear the flame. This message is extremely important for you to hear, okay? And I'm going to break that down more, what that means to be a flame bearer, okay? So, let me just start off by saying, these terms, the wisdom keepers, the flame bearers, and the light bringers, these terms I heard first from my teacher, Brother Yosef, right? But I've actually been getting my own messages from Spirit, directly from Spirit, explaining more about what this pantheon is, what they're here to do, the different names, the different deities, so to speak, within these pantheons, and their important roles, as the collective is evolving, okay? Because we would say the last creation story, the last like mythology comes from the Greek creation story, and this is about the creation of humanity, of humans, right? Talking about how Zeus, we ain't gonna get into Zeus in this video, but we're talking about how Zeus, started this genetic splicing and created these monstrosities, so to speak, these beings with all these eyes, all these arms. And then eventually, they figured out how to splice that genome to make humans, right? And some people in the community think that if you're white, you're human. If you're black or Latino, then you're a god. The truth is, if you have a soul, you can become aware of your God nature, okay? Some black and Latino aren't aware of that God nature, of that soul. Likewise, some humans, some people with pale skin like me have recognized that nature, okay? It has nothing to do with race, okay? Shiva came down, he's blue. What are you going to say about that? People come down, they have green skin, purple skin, red skin, okay? So this has nothing to do with the pigmentation in your skin, has nothing to do with your connection to your soul. All right? Anyone can have a connection to their soul. A tree can have a connection to the soul. There are tree gods out here, okay? So y'all got to understand, where I'm coming from with this, okay? So, let's not get too off topic here. The flame bearers. Yes, the flame bearers. It is of the utmost importance that you tend to your flame how you need to. And what does that mean? Okay. The flame bearers hold the fire of God. The fire of God. Yoriel, the fire of God. Okay. These flame bearers, your willpower, your fire is extremely, extremely valuable. And the enemy wants it. Who is the enemy? The enemy is ignorance, okay? And ignorance right now is running this machine that we got going on here. That's poisoning everybody, polluting the world, destroying everybody, destroying any potential for a great society, is who I deem Shaitan, Satan, right? Satan works in these contracts. He tricks you. He's a trickster spirit, okay? And so Shaitan in this world, especially here in the West, has convinced everyone that you have to walk this path. You have to go to school, graduate school, go to college, graduate college, work a job your whole life, okay? This is Shaitan's trick, to trick you into giving him your fire. So listen, flame bearers, it is extremely important that you do what you need to do with your flame, and that is not to give it to the enemy, okay? Because in my opinion, maybe like 22, 30 souls over here in America, our souls are the magnetizing force running things, okay? These spirits, these electric spirits, they need a soul to operate. That's why you have these hungry ghosts around. That's why you have these roaming spirits around. They don't have a magnetic force. They only have their their spirit energy. You feel me? So they need a grounding magnetic force to really bring that into reality, okay? And so you, as a flame bearer, you have a soul, okay? And your willpower, as long as you're working for this machine, the machine's going to keep churning. Amazon, these big pharma, all these huge corporations that are running, so-called running things, your fire is the reason that their wheel turns, okay? And so everyone, if you recognize yourself as someone with a strong will, if you are so-called hardworking, right? If you have the willpower, you're meant to be doing something important with that. You are meant to be creating something major, okay? And the truth is, you are. But see, the enemy has convinced you to build their blueprints. You see, you need to take your power back. You need to hold your flame in your heart and listen to your heart. Where's your heart directing you? Where do I need to be doing things? What am I passionate about? Okay? I doubt you're passionate working in assembly line building plastic fixtures. That's a very specific niche example, but I'm sure one of you will be watching this and say, yo, that's me right now. You know what I'm saying? Point being, y'all have a greater purpose, okay? And it lies outside of whatever Shaitan wants you to be doing, okay? So this is the main message. And now I'm going to show you guys a little bit more Pantheon is looking like, okay? So, like I said, Yosef came up with, or I'm not sure if he came up with these names, but he's speaking on these names: the wisdom keepers, the flame bearers, and the light bringers. Here's how Spirit has been telling me. Although all of these pantheons are descendants from Sophia, Sophia is the main archetype of the wisdom keepers. Okay? The wisdom keepers can be seen as family doctors. And now remember, who is the family here? The family is the soul. Okay? So these are family doctors, nurses, right? These beings, the wisdom keepers, are here to help the souls, right? The ones who have already recognized their souls, a lot of them are wounded, poisoned, and traumatized, and so they need healing. So the wisdom keepers bring healing to the soul. And that's not to say these can't as well, but this is their priority. To educate, not even to educate necessarily, but to bring healing. If anything, I would say these flame bearers are here to educate. Okay, so the wisdom keepers, these are like the family doctors. Right? So here we have Anna, who really is a child of Sarah, who is more with that Kali Ma energy. You feel me? So Sarah is in here as well, who is Kali Ma. Right? And I'm not going to get super into Sarah's pantheon right now. I like to spell Kali Ma like this. Kali Ma! Yes, okay. So here we have the wisdom keepers, the soul doctors, okay? And so next we have here Anna, Anne, right? She has many different names, but Spirit has been telling me to call her Anna, right? Anna is the mother of the flame bearers, okay? So, and I'm realizing now, looking at my camera, this video is probably going to be sideways, so I really do apologize for that. Okay, you may have to tip your phone a certain way to view this information, and I deeply apologize for the inconvenience. Okay, so Anna. Anna means to educate. Okay. These are the willpower of this pantheon. Not that no other beings in this pantheon have willpower. It's not about that. Okay? Ana is the willpower to educate. Okay? These are going to be creating these powerful structures, right? This is the fuel. Okay? And this is why it's so important that you flame bearers stop fueling the machine. So let's write that down. Stop fueling the machine. Important, okay? You need to start fueling your heart. You need to do what it is in your heart that you need to do, okay? Because really, in my opinion, there's only a handful, a couple dozen flame bearers who are keeping this thing going, okay? There's only a couple of you that are still fueling this machine, and you need to stop giving your fire to Satan. Like, it's funny to say this way, you feel me? Because we've all been indoctrinated into Christianity. But the truth is, Shaitan runs this thing with contracts, with trickery. He makes you think that you must work a job when you don't. Yes, you still need currency in your life. You still need structure in your life. That's actually one of the main things that Anna's family does, is they create structures. They create structures, okay? So you guys need to take that leap of faith. Make sure that you have the structures that you need in place, but make sure you're creating them based off of what your heart needs, okay? Extremely important. So now let's move on here to Moria, the light bringers. Now I'm sure many have heard of this term, the light bringers. It actually brings about, different spirits. Even just in this video, I will cast away many of the negative spirits associated with this title. This title, Lux, is light in Latin, right? And so this word, we get the word Lucifer. Okay, now this might bring some red flags to you, okay? Because Lucifer means light bringer, light bearer, okay? And so we know that in the story so-called, Lucifer fell. And so this is where we get a lot of confusion. This is where we get a lot of tricks from the enemy, okay? Because the enemy tried to combine Satan, the devil, and Lucifer all into one conglomerate thought form. And the truth is, they are not the same at all, okay? Lucifer is a title. Bishops used to be called Lucifers. So-called Jesus used to be called, or Jesus, Yeshua, the actual Jesus, used to be under the title of Lucifer, right? The light bringers. Okay, so what are the light bringers? Let's look at the mother, Maria. You might know her as the Virgin Mary. Yes, Maria is the Virgin Mary. This is a different form of Mary, but you see, everyone's very familiar with the Virgin Mary. And you see some people now are converting back to, Catholic. I'm not exactly sure what this is called in the religious sector, but to where they basically work with Saint Mary, right? Saint Mary is another name for Mary. She is a saint, right? So the Virgin Mary, we can look at her as the purest form of Maria, right? And what does that mean? Okay, here's another name for Maria. We have the mirror, right? Maria is the mirror, okay? So the mirror in its pure reflection is the Virgin Mary, Okay, so this mirror of a pure reflection, right? Let's say this is a mirror, right? This mirror, very clean, very clear, projects light exactly as it needs to, right? And this light coming out gives birth to Tiferet, to so-called Jesus, right? Okay, and what does that mean? That doesn't mean that a Messiah is coming out of Maria. It could, it very well could, but this mirror is the mind, okay? So by creating a pure mind, a virgin mind, this mirror with no blemish, with no cracks, with no obstructions, projects the pure light of the heart of Tiferet. That is what they call that consciousness center. Okay, so the light bringers, they as well are here to educate, they're here to heal, but their primary focus is to shine this light of truth. Okay, so these light bearers, they are here especially to help humanity get out of confusion. Okay? They're here to help humanity. Okay? Because a lot of people their minds right now, their mirrors may be cracked, maybe foggy and dirty, and a lot of them are confused, right? Because they have been tricked by the enemy. And so the children of Maria are here to shine the clear light, and they're here to clean the minds, clean the mirrors of humanity. So yes, now we see the clear roles of the wisdom keepers, the flame bearers, and the light bringers. Okay? Said, I apologize that you had to view that sideways. It's just how it happened. So, apologize for the inconvenience, but this information is very important, and this is just how I need to get it out, okay? But this message, specifically Spirit told me in my dream, you need to communicate with the flame bearers, okay? I'm not going to reveal my identity just yet. You can say I'm very, 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 very close with the fire of God, okay? I hold this will within me, okay? And as soon as you take your will, your fire, away from where you have been directing it towards the machine will slow down. It can't use your fire. They know this is coming. That's why they're creating these robots and machines, because they know that humanity is waking up and realizing, yo, I don't take pride in being your cog. I don't take pride in being a part of your machine. Okay, humanity's realizing this. They're preparing. Let's just say I'm looking very optimistically towards this Clarity Act coming up, okay? You know? So yes, I encourage all of you, the wisdom keepers, the flame bearers, and the light bringers, to return to your nature. To do what you are meant to be doing. Do not let the enemy trick you. Because you sign up for this. You applied to this job, okay? And when you give them their fire, when you give your fire to them, you feel me? That's what runs their agenda. You need to be working on your agenda that the Creator gave to you. Okay? Because once you stop doing what you need to do for them, you know what they do? They fire you. What they're really doing is giving the fire back to you. Okay? But you don't need to get fired. Please do not do anything outlandish at these jobs. You need to remain compassionate, empathetic, and understanding. Because a lot of these beings out here who are running these companies, they're ignorant. Spiritually, they're children. You need to treat them like children. When a child does something wrong, they're innocent. You don't condemn them. You don't scream at them, cuss them, hurt them. You don't do any of that. You remain kind, compassionate, understanding. You need to look at that child and you need to think, how can I convey my message in a way that a child would understand it? That's how you need to talk to your so-called employers. That's how you need to talk to these ignorant beings. Even if they're older than you, if they're younger than you, spiritually they're children, okay? So you have to remain strong with your principles and your morals. As much as you might feel so angry with your fire, you might just want to burn everything down and just walk away. Some people do that, and guess what? They're in jail. What good is your fire in jail? Okay, so don't lose sight of what's important, okay? Fire can be used to heal. It can be used to create technology. Okay, my so-called race, the fire race, we have caused a lot of chaos, a lot of destruction. It's because we were ignorant. Now we know better. We're really here to heal. Okay, so flame bearers, take back your fire. Use your fire. Create a business. You feel me? Work for something that's important, that has a purpose, that aligns with your heart. Okay, because not everyone out here is an entrepreneur. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, but we can't be fueling this machine that's killing us. That's killing humanity. That's killing our planet. That's killing our spirit. That's destroying our minds, confusing our minds. Okay, they got Maria trapped out here. All right, you got to set her free. So, hope y'all got this message. Thank you very much for listening. And please share this video. Check out my channel. Why not? I'll catch y'all later. Y'all have a blessed day.